lot of stuff that we learned today in the coding with music. He probably used some sort of software like we're going to look at. All right, cool. Let's get started. Welcome to CodeHS Hour of Code. This one is specifically looking at coding in music. So it looks like we've got a wide range. Even if you have, coded a lot, this might still be kind of new for you. If you've never coded before, this is still something that you'll absolutely be able to do. Since we do have some students in the room that have coded a lot, I'll show you a little like back end of what this code looks like. But it's going to be anyone who has never even seen code will be able to do it as well. All right, so I am Jennifer Campbell. I'm a curriculum developer here at CodeHS. My first time actually coding was with an hour of code. I was a teacher, I was a math teacher, and our school did an hour of code, and I started, I did it with them, and I was like, this is way cooler than math. So I went in that direction instead. So I taught computer science, and now I work at CodeHS. We also have a few people in the room helping with the back end. We've got Ebony, MR, and Athena. They are helping from CodeHS. They'll help you in your Q&A, if you have any questions. And then a very special guest, we have Grace. Grace Liu is a software engineer here at CodeHS. And she's going to be she's our guest speaker. She's basically going to tell us a little bit about what she does. And if you have any questions for her as well, she'll answer those. So Grace, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, like your journey and how you got into computer science?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Grace. Yeah, I'd say my journey is probably going to be similar to most people who I feel like out of my friends, when you're 18, you don't really know what you want to like major in or whatnot. And both of my parents are software engineers. So my mother encouraged me to try to like take some computer science classes. She's like, you're pretty good at logic and like solving problems. And, I was like, sure, why not? Let's try it out. I would say, yeah, so I started learning during university and then got more into it through teaching. So for anyone who is interested in, computer science, highly recommend teaching. I think it really helps solidify your skills. And it's just like a great way to give back to the general community. And then I interned at CodeHS between my junior and senior year of college, and afterwards got a full-time position. So I've been working at CodeHS for a little over 3 years now. So basics of my journey, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For those in the chat, or I know we have a lot of students who are typing today, which is awesome. Do you guys have any specific questions for Grace? Anything that you might be curious about, or maybe something that you're thinking that maybe she'd be able to answer? And while you're typing that, so we don't just sit here and just wait, Grace, could you walk us through just like a tiny bit of a like day-to-day, like what do you do on the normal like daily schedule? Like what's your day look like?
Yeah, sure. So my day-to-day before pandemic was a lot more interesting. So one perk, I guess, of being a software engineer that I highly recommend is like, the ability to be remote. I feel like transitioning remote was pretty easy. Usually I would, live somewhere different. That's one of the perks I had, and CodeHS has been great in supporting me on that. So I like to go to like a coffee shop in whatever city I'm exploring and work there for a period, or, even go to like the public library and sometimes just work wherever I'm staying. But yeah, general stuff like checking emails and then working on projects for the most part on your own. You have a lot of flexibility on having that sort of like space to zone in. And occasionally like meetings to check in with my manager to, on project statuses, giving updates throughout the day, and then ending the day with like a larger update on what I've worked on.
Awesome, thank you. All right, guys, get some questions out there. I know you're curious. What do you want to ask Grace? And I feel like I'm going off, like I gave Grace some questions I would maybe ask her, and I'm going rogue because now I'm interested. Grace, what was your like first language or like first experience with code? How did you like how old were you and what did you do? Like what kind of coding was it?
Yeah, for sure. My first experience with code was actually like in high school during a geometry class. Out of all things, like I think my math teacher was also the computer science teacher, so I think he wanted to expose us to Java in particular. Funny enough, I did really poorly on that Java portion, and I was like, computer science is not for me. But decided to try again at it during college, and we started off with Java. And I think for most colleges, the first language would be Java. It might be transitioning more to Python now because I think it's easier to sort of pick up. And yeah, that's my first experience. And then during college, yeah, you jump into like, I jumped into like C++ and then JavaScript, HTML, CSS, etc. And you can keep taking other classes to learn like mobile development. So I learned like Swift for a bit too.
Awesome, thank you. We actually have some good questions in here. One of them is what's your favorite project that you've ever worked on?
Yeah, for sure. This is a recent project of mine that I've enjoyed. So the search feature probably has been my favorite. One of the nice things at CodeHS is we have hackathons. So you can work on a new project that kind of interests you, that isn't your typical like work project. And it was something I've done like back in 2018 and then started getting more like cleaned up. And now it's actually live on the site, which is pretty cool. So if you guys have a chance, right now it's just for teachers, but hopefully like opening it up to all users on CodeHS. So yeah, that's my favorite project. I'm just taking a look at the other questions. What did I initially major in for college? Yeah, so I did choose computer science. The nice thing about the school I went to, which was Washington University in St. Louis, is like you can switch majors pretty easily. So I think before choosing computer science, I was like, I want to go into like med school, but decided to go with computer science instead. So that was what I majored in. Do I typically focus on one project at a time or do I do multiple simultaneously? So I think it depends. At a startup, I would say you work on sort of a lot of projects at one time, although you have like a main project you focus on, mainly because startups usually have smaller teams. So we have a team around like 6 people right now, 6, 7. And so that's why like you have to work on a couple usually, but I know for my friends at bigger companies, in teams that specialize on projects, you most likely just focus on one at a time. And what do I primarily code in now? So for CodeHS, we mainly work in Django, which is Python. A Python web framework, and also a lot of HTML, CSS, and a lot of JavaScript. What's my favorite language to code in? What is the first one you learned? So yeah, my favorite language to code in right now would be Python. I really like the readability of it. And I like how for Python, you can do, web with it. You can do data science if you like to go down that path. So Python is just a pretty widely used language, which I like. And first one I learned was Java. So quite different. And was one of my favorite projects to work on. So yeah, I would say the search bar that I talked about previously.
All right, cool. As a final question, if you don't mind, what advice would you have for students? I guess those that are pursuing computer science, and then maybe those even that aren't pursuing computer science. Why would computer science still be important?
I would say for students, while you guys are going into college, like take a lot of time to explore your interests, even if it's not like a academic interest or whatnot. Like my main interest was music. So I did a lot of like music classes and music production stuff. And I would say that actually was a big reason as to how I got into CodeHS. One of the software engineers at the time, he was in the radio station that I was part of in college. And at the time I wanted to like help out. So I was the webmaster and I helped build some like scheduling stuff for them. And because of being in the radio station, I feel like we had that, my application probably stood out in a way. I was like, oh, there's Kware. And yeah, you never know what direction just like pursuing your hobbies will take you. And I recommend that for any non-computer science or computer science student.
Thank you so much, Grace. Yeah, it's amazing. I think sometimes when you don't think you're gonna hit the computer science pathway or computer science, and then it just pops up in music, or it pops up like in a different field anyway. Thank you so much. That is going to conclude our interview with Grace. Thank you. Feel free to hang out or you can go. And we're going to get started. Are you guys all ready to code? So we are going to get started with Hour of Code, coding in music. So I do have a question. And I did, sorry, I think we got one more question in there, but we'll get to you at the end for sure. So I do have a question for you guys, see if you guys know the answer to this. Does anyone know how a piano works? Like, how does an actual piano, not an electric piano, a regular just piano, does anyone know how it actually works? And you can type in the chat. Good, Aaron, yes. Yeah, so I don't know, it depends on if you have a piano or have someone, know someone who has a piano. But in the inside of a piano, there is this hammer and a string. So when you hit the key, it hits the string. So it is almost like, it's very similar to a harp, actually, if you think about it. It's just mechanical, right? There's no kind of computer science. There's no kind of electronical, unless it's electronic piano. It's just hitting the string. It's just mechanical. What about a beat or a song? So we were talking about Billie Eilish before and how her songs are full of all these beats. Does anyone know how this is made? How does this make sound? This one's a little trickier. Sometimes it's hard, like there's no strings in there, right? Mm-hmm. And these are a little different. So the one on the left is like a software program that you would have on your computer. The one on the right is still, it looks like it's something mechanical, but there still would be some sort of chip in there. And right, it's digital. This is full of code. This is, it has code behind it. It has something like this. All right, so for those that said that they have programmed in a bunch of languages, can anyone decipher this language? Does anyone see which language this is? Is it Java? Is it JavaScript? Is it Python? What do you guys think? This one's hard. Yeah, good, Mark. This is JavaScript. And you can tell basically, Python uses like the colons, and I don't know, I'm not huge with Python, but I don't think it uses the function, but I could be wrong with that completely. But this is actually JavaScript. And this is what we're going to work with today. Now, don't get scared if you're new, because we're not actually going to type out the JavaScript. This is the stuff that's going to be behind what we're doing. What we're using today is block coding. And this is very commonly used in songs. So if I go back to this picture, these are all little blocks, right? All of these sound bites, they're all blocks. So that's why we're going to use and explore block coding today. So even if you've done a lot of coding, it's still, it still qualifies as coding. And we're going to kind of hit on your more creative side. So with this kind of coding or this block coding, instead of looking at all the syntax and getting the right words, you'll be able to be a little bit more creative. All right, so I'm going to show you how this works before I give you the link. I'm going to send you to the Hour of Code, and it's going to look like this. So first off, before we even get started, to get around, we have these circles down here. Now, I don't know if you've used CodeHS before. You might know this. If you haven't, then I'll just go over it real quick. So these are all the activities. The video, I'm going to go over everything that's in this video, so you do not have to watch that. We're going to go over these two examples as well. And then I will send you into this one where it says make your own beats. There is also another video if you're interested in watching that. And before I go over these examples, I want to show you what you can do with this editor, with this program that we have. So I'm going to start off here and go to the final project. Oh, I forgot to share my sound, so this may not sound wonderful. Like when I went to share my screen, I forgot to share the sound. I wonder if I could still do that. I don't think so. Oh, you know what I can do real quick? Let me do this because I want it to sound good. I'm just going to stop share and then just reshare it. Okay, and this time I'll share my computer sound so it sounds really good. Okay, hopefully that worked. All right, so this is actually right here. You can change from blocks to text. And this was the text that I showed you on that screen. It just looks a little bit different, but this is the text that I showed you on the screen. So we're going to see what this sounds like. We're going to hit the run and I'll be quiet. Were you guys able? I'm assuming you were able to hear that. Otherwise, you would have told me different. I don't know why, but I feel like that sounds like no one's going to know this. It sounds like one of the old Nintendo games, like Zelda. The teachers might know this. That's exactly what it sounded like, though. But this is what you're going to be building. So let me go over just a few things in this editor. So you saw that I hit the run button to play the music. You saw clear is what you hit at the end. A few things that you're going to go over, and we're not going to build, you probably won't be able to build one this big while we're in here, but you can definitely go, like when we're done with this class, go back and add more to it. So this is really, really complex. We're going to start off much easier than this, but I'm still going to show you the buttons to press and stuff like that. So let me go back to a much simpler template, and we're going to go back to example beats. And I will give you a second. I know you're probably excited to try this. I will give you the link in just a little bit. I want to make sure we don't get lost. So this is the main block. So we have a song block. Everything has to go in the song block. If there's something outside of the song block, like right there, it's not going to play when you hit the run. So we have to put that in there. And that makes sense if you know code, because this would be like the function, right? That's the song function. And it has to be in that function to play. So this is block coding. So you can pull it out there and all three of them would go together. You can split them, you can connect them. And the main thing that you're going to want to know is the tempo block. So the tempo block is how fast or slow your song goes. Now this is, I believe it's beats per, I forget what it is, but it's going to have to be over 100 for you to hear anything really. If this is really low, it's going to go so slow that it's going to seem like it's not working. So I would say keep it at 240. Let's see how fast this one goes. All right. If we had it at like 12, it's not really going to work. It'll play eventually sometime, maybe one every 12 seconds. Maybe that's what it is. There we go. All right. So you want that tempo to be kind of high. And then this is how you tell it how to hit, when to use the bass kick, right? So let's start off. This is how we would start. What you're going to do is you're going to use over here. This is your measures. We're not really going to use measures unless you want to, take it up a notch. But this is our beat. So we would take a beat block and put it in here. And then we get to pick a drum sound or a synth sound. Any synth sound is a little different, actually. Synth sound is going to be, it's going to play a note. So you could put that in there and it would actually just play a note. Or you can do, let me get that out of there. You can put a drum sound in there and pick one of these. Oh, that's because I forgot to be clear. It's probably because I've got all these blocks out here. Okay, there we go. And if you want to bring it up another notch, you can actually put a visualization in there. That is where, if you want that template, is in here. So beats and colors is going to add some color to it. And this is, like I said, we're going to be super creative today. So this one's going to add a set on color. and set off color. So it changes the color in the visualization. It's a very hard word for me to say always. All right, so this is what I want to do. I want to send you to this for about 10 minutes to play around with it because I want to make sure that you don't get lost. I want to make sure that I'm here, that we're here for you if you have questions about it. So I don't want to just send you off and be like, good luck. So I might just send you off just for a few minutes and then bring you back in and see if you have any questions. And then I'll let you go off and try it for a much longer time. All right, so there's two ways that you can get into the Hour of Code today. One of them is if you're logged in, and one of them is if you are not logged in. Now, here's a huge thing though. If you're gonna do the option where you're not logged in, it doesn't save your progress. So like if you saw that I was clicking from one example to the other example, all your work would be gone. So just know that you can still do it for today. You can still mess around, but don't click anywhere else because you'll lose everything that you've done. If you do have a CodeHS account, then log into your CodeHS account and go here to codehs.com/, can we put this in the chat? That would be wonderful. HOC_music. Thank you, Ebony. All right, so go there. I'm going to be quiet for a good 10 minutes. I want you to explore. And then I want to bring you back. I'm going to show you one more cool thing that you can do. And then I'll let you go again. So I'm going to be quiet now. Let me know if there's any questions. Post in the chat or post in the Q&A. And like I said, I'll be quiet for a good 10 minutes and let you explore. Good luck. Have fun. Hey everyone, I know you're probably working hard on your beat, but I did just want to bring it back in here just real quick, like 2 minutes. I want to show you something else that you can do and want to make sure that I answer any questions that you might have. And then I'll let you go and finish. All right, so two things I want to show you. One is a very cool feature that we have that allows you to put in your own sound. So you may have seen as you were going through this, you may have seen where it says right here, your own sound. So if we click that, it gives us this puzzle piece that has a link. So let's see what this sounds like right now. Can I just do that? Yes, I can. And let me get rid of this one. So this is just an example link, but we can make that anything we want. And this is how you get to it. So when we go over here, you'll see a more button. And when you click on more, you want to click on upload. This is going to let you actually upload your own sound. So you can hit microphone, or you can upload a file if you find a sound, a sound on your computer. So let's go microphone. And the thing with this is you want to start recording. Like if you hit record, you want to make your sound like right away. Otherwise, there's going to be a lag. So, and it's going to upload a link. So what you can do now is replace this link with that one. And let's see if I did that fast enough, if it works. So that's how you can get your own sound in your song. And another thing at the very end, if you guys have a beat, you don't have to share anything, but if you guys have a beat that you're super proud of and you worked hard on, at the very end, we can do a little bit of a showcase. So what we can do is we can, and this, I think it only works if you're logged in, but we can try a whole bunch of things. I'm not sure if it's going to work if you're not logged in, but there is a share button here. And when you hit the share button, it will give you a link. You want to make sure it's public, and then let's show the code just so other students can see what you did. And then what you can do is copy this and give it to us. Give it to us in the chat or in the Q&A, and we can bring up maybe 3 or 4 of them at the very end of this hour of code and see what you guys have done. All right, so I will be quiet now. Again, we'll bring it back at, I don't know, like 22 past the hour. And then we'll see if you guys have anything that you'd like to share. And of course, let me know if you have questions. Continue to use the Q&A or just post them in the chat. All right, have fun. Hey everyone, so I put up a graphic again on how to share your program if you'd like to. If we don't get any, that's no big deal. But if you are, if you have worked hard on your beat and you want to share it, you can post these in the Q&A or in the chat, whatever's easiest, and we'll pull up a few to end the session. We'll do that in 2 or 3 minutes. So post your, finish up your last, whatever you're doing on your program, and then share us the link. All right, let's bring it back in to close out the session. I've got 2 awesome beats to share. Hopefully it'll work. I never really know if it will or not. Hold on. Let's see if I can get them here. And I lost my chat. There it is. All right, let's see. if these work. So we'll start with melodies, which looks amazing. I wasn't able to play it because if I played it, then everyone would hear it since I'm connected. So I haven't even listened to it yet. I'm sure it's great. All right, let's see if it works. You could totally see it here, right? Like I was like, am I done? I wasn't even sure. Sorry if I cut it off early. They got the saxophone up here. I didn't even know we had a saxophone. That sounds awesome. Good job, Melody. All right, and let's see. We've got Samad. And this one's a surprise. We don't know the code behind this one. That's awesome. It sounds like did you have your own sound in there? Like there was one like scratch that I couldn't tell if it was ours or one that you created. That was awesome. I know. I'm so sorry. All right. Anyone else have a link or anything they'd like to share? And if not, that will be it. All right. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for sharing your links as well. And continue to build these programs, and continue to learn about code and use CodeHS. If you want to learn about anything else, we've got a lot of curriculum on there. And just continue your journey. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great day.